Diamond, Pharah, Widow, and Hanzo. See if they have a Pharah.
Choose Lijiang?
Yeah.
Okay. We lost in semifinals in Peasant Cup. What was the problem? Okay, this is a Peasant Cup VOD, is it?
No. Looks like
Okay.
Gardens.
Chat.
Okay, they
We're in
have Widow,
Gardens.
so I can't play
Wait,
Pharah.
Don't pick. Watch what they pick. They haven't. They picked them.
Stream Snipers Ree!
All right, are we doing Anna,
Ree!
Lucio, Mercy maybe with a Pharah because we're on Garden.
Hanzo.
You mean Pharah?
I could.
Okay.
I could see that,
try
yeah.
Pharah.
Yeah, we can do
That's fine.
And yeah, our whole goal is to boot people.
Your
At first.
whole
We've been
goal
playing
is to
Ryan
boot people.
Diva
I love
all
it.
day. That's so weird, but it's been working.
Randy
it's-
was
it's
insane.
good. Yeah.
Well, it's because Wesker's just so good.
Exactly.
That's it. That's it.
It is.
So, this composition, first off, like you're playing on Lijiang Tower Garden, right? So, whenever you're playing in a composition like this, you kind of have to think about how exactly you want to play. So, we have two characters, again, we talked about it. We have two characters that want to play with the support of Mercy. You have the Hanzo and the Pharah. This is insanely high damage. Like, that is a lot of damage if your Pharah is landing the rockets and your Hanzo is landing the arrows. At the same time, you have a bit of a little disproportionate tank lineup. You have a Diva who's really good at protecting squishies and peeling and, you know, countering dives and things like that. But then you have a Reinhardt who is wanting to kind of protect damage from a singular location. So the Reinhardt is certainly the character that is out of place here. On the upside, you do have a Lucio who can control or help control the Reinhardt's location to a little bit of a higher degree. So you can speed the Reinhardt forward, and you can also disengage with your Hanzo. But there's a few things, like I'm not sure how you want to play this here, but your Diva is going to be certainly protecting the opposing Reinhardt, or sorry, the friendly Reinhardt. But if the opponent is running a tank-heavy composition like Goats, you know, your Reinhardt is still going to have vastly inferior support compared to a Reinhardt with a Zarya and a Brigitte. So your Reinhardt is going to be substandard compared to a Winston because he has less mobility and is going to have to be paired with the Lucio. Your Hanzo can't get as much support. Without the Zarya, you can't really combo with it. Also wants to split the attention of the Mercy. There's just some like weird ideas with what you're wanting to do in this composition.
It is.
Holy cow.
All right.
To eat boot.
Oh, too fast.
We have a
I
Pharah. Let's
guess
go
we-
left.
Yeah, let's go left. I'll try
Okay.
my best. I'll get ahead to
You should already be at the skybox.
eat boot.
I
Yeah,
can't
we will.
press shift.
Half of us don't need the boot, or need to.
Yeah. Oh god. Oh god. Vomit in my mouth. Toxic? Yeah, a little. Do. Is Gardens map 1 or 2? I always forget. I think it's map 1.
리장 타워에 도착합니다.
Fuck, it's 2. Modes, control, second map.
리장 타워에 도착합니다.
So, the proper rollout for any Pharah is like, you guys have seen rocket jumps before, I assume, right? So there's this, where you just press shift, you go to like there, and then if you hold space during your shift, which has its uses, but it's inefficient. So if you hold space during your shift, you're like, let's fly. You go a little bit higher, but not much. Super inefficient. And then there's kind of the jump where if you shoot the ground while rocket jumping, like that, you go really, really high. Like, I originally had my level there when I didn't rocket jump, but with rocket jump, I ended up looking there. Alright, so look at how high I go, rocket jumping. That's crazy high. It's over twice as high if you actually do the rocket jump. So, in order to actually properly roll out, what you want to do is, you don't just do this and you're like, hey, let's go flying. Like, look how fucking high I am already, right? Is that the skybox? Skybox is even higher than that. Like, the skybox on this map is fucking absurd, okay? So, what you want to do is you just fly out, and then you can just rocket jump off something like that. Hello, I'm at the skybox. And then you still have your concussion. So, rollouts for Pharah, you'll normally have locations where there are little like pieces of geometry like this. Just float out the door, stop using fuel, recover fuel during the rocket jump. Float, 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 rocket jump. And look, I'm at max fuel at the fucking skybox. Look at how high I am. So, yeah. Like, so you just press shift and shoot the ground. That's all you do. You don't even have to jump. You don't even have to jump to do it, right? And then if you... So the thing is that, like, I tried to demonstrate this earlier, right? But if you just press shift, you go that high. If you press shift and space at the same time, you waste fuel, but it doesn't really affect how high you travel otherwise, right? Is it worse? I don't know, but it's not... Like, there's no point in holding space during your jump jet. No point at all. So what you do is you just... shoot the ground and you hit shift, and the knockback plus the jump, the momentum of the jump jet sends you way, way higher. Go forward. So yeah, that should be your rollout. Now, this is not something you normally do in combat, because in combat you don't want to be using your jump jet like that. You can also damage yourself if you've got a mercy, maybe, but if you kind of, like, the proper way to gain altitude otherwise is just kind of like hold fuel until you hit the red, and then you can jump jet, and that's how you want to get to altitude normally. So it's much slower. There's a slight difference. Kind of like compare these two different ways to get to altitude on Pharah. Why is it always the Pharah bots that I go on ridiculous tangents on? So if you don't want to expend your jump jet cooldown, you can just be like space, 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 jump jet, and then you're pretty high. You're like here, right? You're like here. It's slower, but it doesn't waste a cooldown, because especially if the opponent has a Pharah or something, you want to be able to give up altitudes in an evasive maneuver and then jump jet back at altitude or something like that. But if you have the time, and just like using cooldowns aggressively between fights when you'll get them back before a fight starts, the chance of you rolling out and immediately be engaged in a Pharah duel and need the Pharah jump jet is pretty low. So you can just like float out and then just be like goodbye. And then you'll have your jump jet by the time you need it, because the time that you'll actually need to go evasive maneuvers in the 8 seconds is pretty low. So, learn your rollouts, please.
Didn't have it eaten.
They eat it.
They ate it.
We're
Oh.
on a dive. Oh, Diva's one.
Diva.
I'm set.
Like, you ground Pharah at this phase in the fight is unacceptable.
Monkey one.
Yeah, he's one.
I need heals.
Working on it.
And I...
If you're going to be trying to knock somebody off, you shoot a rocket and concussion at the same time, right? Do you see that? Did you see that, how they landed at the same time? You shoot rocket first, but the travel speed of your concussion mine is actually faster than the concussion, right? So, watch this again. I want to knock somebody, like, from here into the pit. It's, for me, I bind my concussive blast to a right click, right? But, whoop, and they'll be into the pit. So you double the knockback, right? Just because how, if somebody is moving into the direction of knockback, they get knocked back less. But just how we were, like, in the exact same way that we were doubling up knockback by rocket jumping into the ground with a jump jet, this time we're doubling up the knockback with left click, right click, boop, and you get the double boop, and they go way farther, and you will get kills that way. Oh, is this changing the next patch? Well, fuck anybody who learns this. I don't know what the new projectile speeds are. But, yeah, it's the exact same thing. You double up knockbacks. Double up knockbacks. That was not the VOD.
Far top. She's getting healed. Thanks for the red.
She's going to point.
Okay, monkey.
Rollouts out.
How are you gonna take? No, you need like you. No, we're stopping this VOD here. You need to learn like.
She's going to point.
Okay, monkey.
Rollouts out.
So you have used no fuel at all, and then you just jump jetted right off the ground. So fuel's the first thing.
The Hanzo.
Where's Hanzo? Where's Hanzo?
Alright, they got Widow now. They got Widow.
I don't know where he is, but I heard him. He's
I'm watching. I'm watching.
If you ever wonder why you constantly seem to be on the ground as Pharah, congrats, you now know.
Ana is main.
I'm so sorry.
He's
I'm watching. I'm watching.
Ana is main.
I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Widow's
Widow's
behind
behind
us.
us. Widow's behind us.
Widow behind. Okay. Which side? Left or right?
Yeah.
Farah's
Right.
window?
Did you guys see how the Pharah was attacking the Widowmaker in the Temple of Anubis map? Remember how he, like the other way that you can close range on people, like you can double up, you know, it's all about doubling up knockbacks, right? So if I want to go really far, like if I want to barrage, and there's, let's say I want to barrage up there, right? If I want to get there really fast, you have to remember that barrage stops momentum, but if you activate both cooldowns, you can get there immediately. Right? So if anybody was there, if I wanted to barrage from low ground onto the high ground, just drop both cooldowns and immediately just show up there. But like, you can, so Concussive Blast has a primarily horizontal knockback and a little bit of a vertical knockback. And then Jump Jet has a little bit vertical, right? If I Jump Jet, see how it's got vertical momentum? So people consider normally that Concussive Blast has only horizontal and Jump Jet has only vertical. But it doesn't. It has a component of each. So if you use it at the same time, you'll go even farther forward and even more vertical at the same time. Boom! Look at how far I traveled. And you do that so fast. So you can do that to get into position really quickly. You can do that. That is how you close distance on Widowmakers. Right? So if there's a Widowmaker or something and you need to close distance, you transition between what is safe. Whoops, I bounced myself backwards. But if, like, this area is safe because it has cover, and the Widowmaker is standing here, and this area is safe because it's above them, you want to transition from the lateral location where you're safe from cover, through the dangerous position where you are at a horizontal or a very, small angle to them, to the angle above them, vertically, as quickly as possible. That's how you close the distance on Widowmakers. So, like, combine your cooldowns. Combine left click with right click for me, because I don't know why you put an ability on E when right click is not bound. Combine your left click with your Pharah jump jet. Like, look at how fucking high I went! And then combine your concussive blast with your jump jet to close distances on hit scans. Boom. Or barrage. Right click for fuel? No, I use it for concussion, and it's just space for fuel. Anyway, so yeah, that's I'm gonna stop watching your Pharah VOD now. Thanks for submitting.